Hey, it's Steve Cochran. Welcome to another edition of Live from My Office. Over 500,000 downloads. It's far and away the most popular podcast that emanates from my office, at least of all the live ones. Wait, I'm being told it's the only one. Well, it's still statistically accurate. It's the most popular. I'm glad you're here for the great Paul Reiser. He and I had a great talk. We'll be sharing that with you in just a moment. And then afterwards, I want you to stick around and listen. We're going to talk for a brief bit about a terrible disease and a terrible condition that is an affliction that kids suffer with. And it's affected Paul Reiser and his family. And if you can help, I'd love you to help. So we do an issue worth helping in almost every episode, today being no exception, when we talk about cerebral palsy. And we'll even talk about how to pronounce it. All right, so a couple of things. One is the radio show is on WLS in Chicago, the Big 890, every weekday morning from 5:30 to 9. Please listen if you can. If you're in the greater Chicago area, around the Midwest, 890 WLS, and on all smart devices as well. Really the smarter of the devices, your Alexas and Alexa's various cousins. So give it a listen, and also give it a listen on any place you can stream live radio, certainly at WLSAM.com, but TuneIn Radio and a lot of radio streaming apps all feature WLS. It's a big station. So I'm on every morning, 5:30 to 9 Central Time. Would love for you to listen to the show. It's a completely different listen than you get here. Here we get to have long, commercial-free, news-free conversations with people. Occasionally, we will break for traffic, but that's rare. So there is an attraction to the podcast format, but without radio, there'd be no podcasting. And I like what we're doing on the radio, and I hope you'll give it a listen when you can. 5:30 to 9, the Big 890, WLS, the Steve Cochran Show. Of course, I'm thrilled that you're here wherever you're listening, around the Midwest, around the country, and around the world. Last I looked, we were in 15 or 20 countries. That's not bad. All of them bigger than my office. What? So let's proceed with today's episode. Paul Reiser is on tour, his Big Font tour, and he is at the beautiful North Shore Center for the Performing Arts in Skokie on April 15th, for those of you who are in the greater Chicago area. But if you go to paulreiser.com, you can check out the tour, because I'm guessing he's coming to your town too. And we're going to do that right now. So let's roll it. Paul Reiser joining me on Live from My Office. Well, this is fun. Paul Reiser standing by. You know, we're old show business pals. I've probably interviewed him 75 times. We are, I think the word is tight.
There you go. We are as tight can be.
Yeah.
75 times. You would think you would have asked all the questions, but no. There are more questions that we can cover today.
And honestly, let's be clear on this. None of them are any of my business.
You know what? I was going to point it out, Steve. I was going to point that out. You have your nerve.
How dare I come to you at a time like this? Like, you need this.
No, I need this because I'm coming to town. Tell the people why we're chatting. I'm coming back to town because I can't get enough.
I thought you were coming because you missed me, but the truth of the matter is you are coming in at the beautiful North Shore Center for the Performing Arts, where our mutual friend Lewis Black played just the other night. I was there for that.
Oh, yeah? Was he funny?
Yeah, you know, for a kid coming up into business, I think he's got potential.
He's great. You know what? Not only, I had totally forgotten. I went to see him, and he was great. And I had forgotten that years ago he was on an episode of Mad About You, and he was
really.
He was sort of up and coming, and I totally forgot that was the same Lewis Black. He was really terribly funny in the episode. He played like one of these guys who stands outside and points you to come inside and buy something.
Yeah.
And it was for a pizza store, and he was dressed up as a huge piece of pizza. And and the joke was he was so hostile. He would, if you didn't take a flyer for the pizza, he would flip at the bottom of his pizza triangle, which was right below his crotch,
sure.
And he would sort of flick it at you.
Sure.
And he was just too hostile, and it was so funny. He was great.
He's still funny. He warmed up the stage for you. You're going to be in Skokie at the North Shore Center for Performing Arts on April 15th. Clearly the best part of April 15th.
Yes, that is, I think, the best time. And I have been at the North Shore before. It's a beautiful venue, and it's a great comedy town, as you know. I'm having such a great time. I have not been out on the road as much as this in a long time, and I've been having just a ball. It's I kind of forget sometimes how much I love just doing stand-up. And people go, well, you're on Stranger Things and The Boys and all these TV shows. I go, yeah, but they're not as much fun as making people laugh sitting in an actual theater. People are not on Zoom. They're actually in front of you. It's great.
Yes. As a matter of fact, if you come in with a Zoom screen, if you bring in, say, an iPad, Paul will personally slap it out of your hands.
Oh, we'll slap it right out. No more Zoom. But you know what's funny? There's still, even though it's been a year or so that people were out and about, there's still this feeling of, it's been a while, and people are appreciating, I think, live entertainment in a way that maybe we didn't before.
Sure, no, 100%. And that's why you need to get tickets and get them now. You can go to paulreiser.com. And that's spelled the traditional way, Paul?
Yes, and the com, though, is K, and then the Russian symbol with the triangle, and then a big cross.
You go to paulreiser.com for all things Paul Reiser, but tickets are available now. You should get them. I'm coming out. And,
there you go. And Steve will be there.
Paul said I could park cars, and if they got space in the back, you'll let me in.
Exactly.
I want to talk about the acting for a second, but something came up with Lewis Black the other night, which I know will resonate with you, and I certainly have gone through this a million times. We had done a show the night before at Zany's. And what is it about comedians that you can't enjoy the win, but if you forget a line or your head goes up on a joke? And here's why I bring it up. Lewis Black's mom passed last fall. She was 104.
Oh, my gosh.
So I go backstage to see Lewis. He goes, I forgot this. And he told me this hilarious story. It's pretty crazy. His mom passed away. They go to do the final arrangements with the funeral home, and the guy says, I've got some bad news. And, of course, Lewis says, well, we know she's dead, so what else could go wrong? and the guy said, the funeral urn, the urn for her cremation ashes that she wanted, they no longer make it. She outlived her urn.
That's really funny.
How about that? Huh? We should all be so lucky or unlucky, depending on your perspective. But what is it about that where you can't? I mean, you're like everybody else. If you forget a line, or if there's one guy with his folded arms, that's what eats you.
Yeah, that's a really true thing. You know, there's always you never get it perfect. I've never, I'll get off stage and most nights I go, oh, that was great fun, and then you go, oh, I meant to do that, or gee, it's a moving target, it's a moving goalpost. So you go, you know what, that worked, but if I put this line or if I move this over here, and that's the fun of it to me, is it's always changing and growing. But that's true. If you see one, there could be 1,000 people laughing, but one guy in the front not laughing, you go, that's all you see,
right.
And then you try and spend all your energy getting this. And sometimes it's like, you find out later, well, they don't speak English. Oh,
right,
they don't,
right.
They don't hear. Or it's like, they're blind. You go, and then you feel worse for going after them. But, with time, you'll learn to not be quite as nutty about it. Just go, hey, maybe the guy's not having a good time. Maybe his wife dragged him to the show.
Right.
Maybe he didn't want to be here.
Maybe he's gassy. We don't know.
And then you'd see the people around him being less happy.
Fair point.
You never know. But so far, people seem to be having a great time. And it's also, as I said, I think people are just happy to be out. And I tell people up front, Lewis is great. Lewis Black talks, he's so to current events and politics, and he's brilliant. I don't do any of that. And I tell people right up front, I said, hey, nothing I say tonight will be important. And to my surprise, people are laughing and they're clapping. They're going, oh, thank you.
Right.
They kind of need a break. They're going, we're so happy to spend the night just laughing at silly stuff and not having to think about what's happening in the world. I go, well, happy to be of service.
Well, but the thing is, too, and one of the reasons I think you've had such a long and exceptional career, and I think Paul Reiser, you and I can agree better than anybody else in show business, is because through the years, your life has been, you've adapted your life to the act on stage. And there's guys, you can't be, I'm 62. You can't be 62 and doing the jokes you did at 22. It doesn't add up.
This is true. And I tell people all the time, they say, well, what do you talk about? And I said, the sad truth is, I I'm not smart enough to make anything up. So all I can do is I can tell you what happened in my house. But when I tell people, they go, "Oh, hey, that sounds like at my house, brother." And people are laughing because they're going, "That's the same. That's what Mad About You was." I think a big part of the appeal. People watched it for years. They're going, "That's exactly the argument that we had in our house. Would you listen to this guy? Listen to her. She's right. He's right." And so people recognize themselves. And I just talk about my family, my kids getting older. You absolutely right. So, there's a lot more funny things in your 60s than there were in your 20s.
Yeah.
There's more things are going bad. If things are going well, that's not funny. When things start going bad, that's where you get the funny.
Yeah, and if you can't laugh at the folk that death is near, come on, please.
We know how the show ends. You know what I'm saying? We all know what's coming. Let's have a good time while we're here.
You mentioned Mad About You, and I've told this story to other people. You told me this years ago, but it is the greatest single elevator pitch for a show I've ever heard. For those of you who don't know the term, the elevator pitch is what can I say in 10 or 15 seconds that I have that's going to lock somebody into my idea. It could apply to any business, but in show business with a lot of people who really think they're important, you better have it down. The elevator pitch, as you told me for Mad About You, is it's the car ride home from the party.
Yeah, that's right.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and people go, "Oh, I know that feeling. It's the car ride." It's like when you get away from everybody else, you stop smiling, and then you can either, you turn to the other person, you go, "Why would you tell them that? That was or like, gee, wasn't that guy an idiot?" It's like, "Did you hear what he said?" It's like, yes, let's put cameras in the back of the car and talk about what we actually want to talk about. And that was really the secret sauce of the show. Yeah,
it's really a brilliant description of it. This is like a 40-city tour. And when you play Skokie on April 15th, get your tickets at paulreiser.com at the North Shore Center for the Performing Arts. You're getting near the end of the tour. We're not going to get... you're not going to need a nap in the middle because you're doing a lot of work here, right? I mean, I want to tell people that you're going to be fired up like it's opening night.
Yes, but in the middle, I do take a little 20-minute break, and people, I nap on stage. The lights, the house lights are still down, and you watch me nap, and it's very entertaining. Don't kid yourself, because I nap funny. It's great. And you know what? And you joke, but the truth is, the more you do, the better it gets.
That's true.
Like, then you just get, like I said, you keep discovering stuff. So I'm looking forward. We're going to have a great time in Skokie, and for God's sake, if you're there, come say hi.
I am going to be there, and I will say hi, and I'll bring a couple of friends. But in the meantime, are you traveling with anybody? Are you coming out doing it yourself? Is KISS opening for you? How's that working?
Yes, KISS is opening for me. I do travel by myself. I don't have... people go, "Where's your road manager?" I go, "What road manager?" I got a suitcase and a pair of shoes. But I have... a buddy of mine who's a great musician, Vance Gilbert, he opens the show. And I always like having a musician open the show. Yeah. And he's kind of funny, and he does have some funny, and he does a nice short set, and it's great to have an opening act because it sort of brings the audience together. They come in as strangers, and then your opening act sort of makes them into an audience, and then I get to have an audience. It's like wrangling cats. And... so anyway, so you got some music, and then you get an evening of comedy, and then we all drive you home. Right. It's a full service show.
Right, and as your show business friend for a long time, anybody that needs a ride, I pick them up and I bring them back. That's what I'm willing to do for you.
You are such a decent fella for doing that. So, I don't think it goes unappreciated.
All right, let's do a little lightning round because I got to talk a little bit of acting here. Stranger Things brings you a whole new audience. The Kaminsky method brings you an audience that knows you and loves you, but wonders, where's the ponytail? Did you keep it?
No, I got rid of that ponytail as quickly as I could. The great thing about Kaminsky method, it was great fun. And got to, great writers and Chuck Lorre and getting to work with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, Alan Arkin. But the fun part, they aged me up and they put this extra padding on. They made me bald, and it was really interesting. A lot of people I've heard would say, "Hey, I was watching the show for an hour and I couldn't figure out who it was. You sounded like you." And other people would watch it and went, "What has happened to Paul Reiser? Oh, he looks terrible."
He's really let himself go.
He's let himself go. But the great thing is that once I take off that makeup, suddenly I look fantastic.
Right.
Well, I'm only 20 pounds overweight. He's not 50 pounds overweight. He looks fantastic now. So it's like swinging with one bat. You drop the second bat, you look fantastic.
Well, I love the part, and I love the Kaminsky method. And Alan Arkin, good God, is he great? He's always great. Always was.
He he was one of my very few heroes growing up, and getting to work with him. And we didn't get to do too many. We only
right.
had he was not on the third season. I was not on the first season, so we had only a limited time. But we shot a scene, and we were rehearsing, and he was just cracking up. And he said, "Oh man, sorry, you just make me laugh." And I went, "Let me take a moment, because that's like the greatest thing I've ever heard." I said, "I made you laugh? Are you kidding me? That's like better than any Oscar."
It's like Ted Williams telling you he can hit. I mean, it's great.
It's like, I grew up idolizing him, and he's wonderful.
From Diner to Mad About You and all the way through, your credits could take up the entire evening. That'd be a funny show, by the way, if you just come out and read your IMDb page.
What a great show that would be, yes. I'm going to do that when I run out of material.
But what are you getting recognized most for these days when you're traveling?
Well, as you said, it's sort of an age group demographic thing. It's like if anybody 20 years old or so comes over to me, I know it's a stranger thing. If somebody 70, it's a Kaminsky method. In couples anywhere from 40 to 60, it's a Mad About You fan. And if it's a big guy with tattoos, it's probably from the boys.
So you got it covered. That is smart.
I got it all covered. Yep.
That is smart career management. And the last thing I wanted to bring up, because it's been newsworthy lately, is I know your mom was one of the first women to graduate from Baruch College. Did George Santos play volleyball with her?
Well, you just did your research. That's she and George Santos were an item before World War II. He wasn't born yet, but still. Heck of a guy.
Oh, the best. Safe travels, man. Enjoy the tour. I look forward to seeing you when you're in town.
Look forward. I'll see you there.
PaulReiser.com. Hold on a second. I'm sure you've won something, and we'll let Tom say goodbye to you. But thanks for being on, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
And before we go, a charitable cause that is very worthy of mention that I don't think we've talked about here. Since we started this show so many shows ago, and it is cerebral palsy. Now, cerebral palsy is pronounced by many as cerebral palsy, and it turns out both are correct. The actual dictionary definition pronunciation is cerebral palsy, but I think most people actually say cerebral palsy. So don't feel intimidated by the term. Help however you can, and know that like most diseases, even though the CP Foundation does well with contributions and grants, it still is well underfunded. And the way we beat it, the way we eventually cure it, is to raise as much money as possible. And you can do it yourself with any possible way you can help. Start a fundraiser in your neighborhood, through your church, your organization. Get your kids involved, or just click the donate button at yourcpf.org. That's your YOURCP Cerebral Palsy F Foundation. Yourcpf.org, and your help's appreciated. As is Ross Cochran's help on this podcast, which would not be posted ever, 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 if not for his work. Thank you, Ross Cochran, executive producer, the brains and the good looks of the operation. And finally, thanks to you. Thanks for listening. Again, check out the radio show weekday mornings, 5:30 to 9, Big 890, WLS, or wherever you stream radio, including your smart devices. And join us when we do our next episode of Live from My Office, coming soon, right here where you are. Subscribe, rate, and review. Tell your friends to do the same. And thank you for all the support of this and other programs that I'm involved with or that I'm on. And we got a lot of news to come in the balance of 2023. That's enough for now. We'll see you next time on Live from My Office.
30 years plus on the airwaves, you have turned your dial to me. Now you're tuned into my podcast. It's Live from My Office, Steve. From Ithaca, New York, to Carolina South, W. Cochran, Steve. From Minneapolis and then Chicago twice, top-rated shows achieved. Sit back, relax, and now listen to my show. When or wherever you are, 'cause you're on the go. A-list celebs with some laughs and great info. Live from my office, the Steve Cochran Podcast Show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No better place to be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Subscribe and like for free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Live from my office, Steve. So glad you're with me. It's live.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.